Or there was an instance that happened not too long ago that appeared on Instagram. It came to my attention from some of the subscribers leaving comments down below. I appreciate the heads up. Where Christine had apparently taken a picture on her birthday with her fiance, David Woolley. And the two of them were standing there with a big old plate of nachos, and he was eating like, I'll feed you nachos anytime, girl. And to me, I got to tell you, I have kind of a dirty mind. And when push came down the shove, I went to that place. I was like, oh, my man is in it, boy. He's dead ass. He's like, oh, yeah, girl. I'm here for Super Bowl Sunday, Meatball Monday, Taco Tuesday, Wild Man Wednesday, Whopper Wednesday. I'm here for all that. In fact, cue the music. Hey, baby, why don't we just retire back to the boudoir? In fact, you know what? Grab them nachos, girl. Freak man David. Anyway, like, I'm not going to get too deep in that. I don't want to disrespect nobody's relationship. But when push comes down to shove, for those not aware, the reason why David and Christine took that picture, it all reverts back to Kody and his little story that he loved to tell so much about how Christine and he were on their first date. I believe it was their first date. And they went on this long road trip. And while they were on the road trip, he didn't have anything to eat, and he just kept drinking sodas, and his stomach was full of soda because that's all he kept drinking to stay awake during this long-ass road trip. And while they were coming back, he had to pull over to the gas station to get some fuel, probably to drop something off. Let's keep it a buck. If you got the bubble guts because you soured your stomach with a whole bunch of soda, you were probably dropping off more than you were picking up, if you understand what I mean. Like, he was really going to Brown Town back there in the bathroom. So, anywho, I don't want to discuss nobody out. When he was doing all that, she went into the convenience store, came back out, she gets in the truck, he's in the truck, probably holding his stomach, oh God, what have I done to myself? She gets in the truck, and she's holding a big old plate of nachos, and she's eating the nachos. She even offered him some. Hey, would you like some nachos? And no, I don't need no nachos. I had some disgusting soda and my stomach hurt, so therefore you should stay hungry because I messed around and drank a whole case of sodas on an empty stomach, dummy. Of course your stomach's messed up. So she starts eating nachos, and he talks about how, and he said this publicly. I can't even get around the fact that you said it publicly. You should never tell this story in a room by yourself. He tells this story publicly. And then not only publicly, he tells this story on television, and he memorialized it in a book about how she disgusted him because she was sitting there eating the nachos, and she was this chubby girl eating this big old plate of nachos, and it disgusted me, and it totally revolted me. Felt complete revulsion. How dare she? To a lot of folks, there was a big insult there, and I'm not going to, play down the insult that he had given to Christine by saying this. But I think that this is the confluence of an immature mind, and I'll explain that in a little bit. The first thing, let's address the picture. First and foremost, I have to give credit to Christine for the low-key shade. This is, fellas, if you didn't know, in the battle of the sexes, this is what women are great at. They're great at the stealth attacks. And why do I call it a stealth attack? This is the kind of attack that she gave you the slight. Basically, what she's saying, the underpinning of what she's saying is, now that I got me a real man, he don't care about small things like a plate of nachos. This is beneath him to be worried about how I eat nachos. In fact, I think he loves the way I eat nachos. So, snack on that, Kody. That's the low-key shot. The worst thing about the low-key shot, fellas, is the fact that this is the kind of shade that you can't respond to. What can you say? What can you say? You shouldn't be eating nachos with my ex-wife. There's nothing. You talking about me. Anything you say, you sound like an idiot. You sound like you're over-obsessed about her. This is that low-key shade. This is the equivalent of if Kody calls up the house and he's trying to talk to her because he's seen her and David on Instagram a whole bunch, and he wants to criticize her, so he uses Truly as a way to call up the house and try to talk about Truly, and somehow every conversation he has about Truly somehow meanders into what her and David are doing and how they're presenting themselves and how it's messing the show up, and what he gonna do about Gwendolyn and getting her off Patreon because she talking bad about him. And during the conversation, Christine does the thing that women will do to you. Hold on a minute. David, stop. You're being stupid. Stop, David. Anyway, Kody, how are you? Okay, I gotta get ready to go. And then as soon as Kody, why you keep talking to him? Kody, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go, Kody. Driving that dude crazy. And the whole time, the best part of this situation, and I just as a person who's been watching the show and keeping up with things, the best part of the whole situation is that the whole time, from the time Christine has left, he had complained about Christine being this chubby girl, this overweight girl. Christine not only looks like she lost a little bit of weight, kudos to you if that's the case, but she also looks like, and this is no slight on her at all, she also looks like she's losing years, like she's coming down in years. Like she looks about 10, 15 years younger since she left Kody. Right? She's glowing, she's happy, like she just looks younger and more vibrant. On the other hand, Kody eating all his nastiness. This dude looks like he washes his face with a Brillo pad and dries it with sandpaper. Like he's in so much trouble. It's so sad. Like, how the mighty have fallen. It's crazy. But to get back to one of the things that I talked about earlier, when it comes to this story that Kody was telling, I think it's a very insulting story. This is something that you should never talk about your boyfriend or girlfriend, or especially your wife and mother of your children. You shouldn't tell stories to intentionally embarrass them, because that's what the story is designed to do. It's not a cute story. It's a story designed to embarrass Christine and make her feel less than. Like, it is what it is. And if you look at any form of comedy, joke, whatever, I know people will say that quickly. They'll say, oh, it was just a joke, or I was just playing around, or I didn't mean it, right? But there is a reason why the joke is funny. If you watch somebody fall down in a movie and the way they fall is funny, you're laughing at them potentially because they could have got hurt and wow, they really got jacked up. And the way they fell was hilarious because, oh, they would have broke all their back. You know what I mean? That's what the joke is. So the joke is Christine, chubby girl, is doing the fat girl thing by getting a big old plate of cheese nachos with everything on it, and how disgusting it is that she would sit there in front of him, the guy she's supposed to be trying to impress because they're on a first date, and she's a pick-me, remember? So he was never attracted to her, and so she should be trying to impress him, but she went out of her way to do something that was disgusting. And so that's the joke. That's the joke. And for the immature mind, and for the immature people that would listen to that story from Kody and laugh and giggle with him and think that that story is cute, you have deficiencies within yourself, and you don't really understand how relationships work. I'll put it right there on the front page. You don't understand how relationships work. You don't understand how to find a good mate. You don't know what to look for in a good mate. Because to me, in my mind, when I heard that story, what were the facts of the case? Kody had taken this young lady on a first date or early in their relationship on a road trip. First of all, you don't go on road trips with people that you really don't know, because that can always go bad. If you have an argument, you got to ride for 3 hours next to somebody that you don't want to be in a room with, let alone in a closed car. You go on a road trip with her, you don't provide provision, you don't make a way for her to get something to eat, you don't pull over to the side of the road so she can hit a fast food restaurant or something, so she can get some kind of sustenance. You're not looking out for her. In fact, you're sitting there suffering yourself because you don't want to do that. What that tells me is you were broke. So you took her out and you were broke, and she went out with you even though you were broke. This flies in the face of a lot of the manosphere stuff that he listens to now that talks about, oh, a man has to be a high earner and a high value man, and women only go after guys who got a whole bunch of money. She was going out with you when you were broke. Aside from that, you didn't, like when you pulled over to the side of the road and you went off to take care of your business and finish the paperwork in the lavatory, she took it upon herself to go into the convenience store and get something to eat. You pulled in there, you didn't even, because one of the things I noticed in the story was, he didn't say, yeah, we pulled into the convenience store and I asked her, did she want something to eat? And I took her in to grab something to eat. Right? That's not what he said. In fact, he said she got into the truck and she had a big old plate of nachos, which means that she bought those nachos herself with her dollar, her dime. And as much as you guys sit around and talk about being polygamous and polig this, polig that, and everything is polygamy, bitch, your ass was Dutch that night because she had to go in there and pay for her own meal. Nothing wrong with that, but let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it all the way 100. And if she is being that kind of lady where not only did she go in there and buy her own meal to look out for herself, but she gets in the truck and first thing she does is ask you, do you want some? That, my man, we're going to stop right there. That is what you call a keeper. That is a builder. When you talk about your empire and building this great business and all the things you want to do and all the hopes and dreams you have, this is the type of woman who will support you in doing that. And the fact of the matter is you didn't recognize what you had. You are very lucky in a lot of ways. Everything Kody does is very haphazard, and he didn't make plans for a lot of the things. He didn't have designs for a lot of the his life and lifestyle, how he wanted it to turn out. So you got lucky in a lot of the ways that things fell into your lap. Lucky in the selection of wives, lucky in the fact that you got picked up for a show, lucky that you had all these opportunities come your way that frankly you didn't necessarily work for, but were provided to you just through happenstance. Christine actually got you the show and got you the big money, but we're going to leave that aside. When you look at the situation and scenario, you have to take these kind of things into account. He's looking at her saying, wow, she's really disgusting because she went in there and got herself a big old plate of nachos and she offered me something. He's complained recently about them being independent women, modern women, so on and so forth. But the reality of it is most women today are modern women and independent women, not because they choose to be, but mostly because of necessity. Most guys aren't doing the things that traditionally they would have done. Under no traditional circumstance would a guy take a lady out on a date and not provide provision where he's going to make an opportunity or give an opportunity where she can get something to eat. You wouldn't go out with your friends and on a road trip and not make a provision where they can get something to eat. Now, I'm not saying that you got to pull in the Ruth Chris, or Morton Steakhouse, the Palm. I'm not saying you got to go down to the fish place or wherever and buy a whole bunch of lobsters and mussels and crabs and all that. That's not what I'm saying. If you don't have the finances, hell, you can't even pull into a Burger King or McDonald's and order number 3, whatever that is, right? If you can't do that, then you just make something at home. Pack something. Get a little picnic basket or a little cooler and you have a picnic. Do something. Here's a secret. And this is like, if there's any young men who are watching my videos by happenstance, please take note of this. If she will get on the bus with you, then that's the woman that you want to ride with you. That's the woman that you want to try to keep. If she's willing to suffer through that, go get her own nachos and not complain the whole time. Hell, there's certain ladies out here in this world. If you would have went 5 minutes into the date and not talk about pulling into a restaurant or getting them something to eat, they would have been complaining the whole time. I ain't eat all day. I'm dying over here. I'm starving to death. I'm going to melt away. They would have been losing their minds. She sat there for hours in a car with you trying to entertain you and keep you awake and talk to you. Then went and got her own food because you didn't even ask her about getting food. The idea that, I'm telling you, as a mature person, when I hear that story, what I heard was this person is a builder and a rider. Kody wants the finished product. He wants to shine, but he don't want to do none of the work. If you have a workhorse, then somebody you have a dream, a hope, there's things you want to achieve, and they're right there with you and helping you to achieve those things and build those things, then that's somebody that you want to keep in your corner. Because if you get the converse person, somebody who is only going to be there when you have things, when you have the nice house, when you have the ability to take them out of a trailer and put them in a McMansion, when you have the ability to put property under their name, when you have the ability to put them on TV and they show up and they're there for that, if you ever start to go down, and I'm not necessarily pointing fingers at Robin, but if you ever start to go down, then that person is going to leave when your money, your prestige, your fame, your items, the houses, the cars, when those things leave, they're going too. In fact, they'll start going once those things start leaving. They're not going to wait around for you to you stand in line buying bus passes. With a woman like Christine, from what I heard about that first date, she was the type of woman who, if you have everything, on Monday you ride in a Rolls Royce and by Thursday you back on the bus, Christine is the type of lady who's going to be in there look in the couch trying to get you some change so you can go get a bus pass. And that's the type of woman, when you do, if it ever did come to a point where you lost everything, she's the one who's going to be there to help you rebuild it. And she's going to be the one who appreciates you not having anything to where you are now and today. So as you're making these decisions, don't just look at the shiny stuff. Look beneath it. If she is riding with you from the beginning and she's holding you down from the beginning, that, right, my friend, is more of a treasure trove than a trash truck. My name is James. This has been my take on reality, and I'm out.